Welcome to New Light Living Podcast. I'm Ulrika Sullivan. I'm an intuitive spiritual life coach and a galactic astrologer. This video is a galactic astrology reading of the Gemini full moon at 4 degrees and 51 minutes on November 27th of 2023. Welcome. First of all, I want to say welcome to all the new subscribers to this YouTube channel and on my podcast. I am overjoyed with so many new interested galactic souls that are here. And together we learn more about what it means to relate to multidimensional energies, because we're all multidimensional beings. So, with these readings, I hope to help us all to connect with our universe, our stars, and our galactic heritage that we all have. So welcome. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for coming to listen to this. If you're new, welcome. If you have been with me for a while, welcome back. What I do in these videos, I put an outer layer of fixed stars, celestial bodies, and galactic points to the traditional Western tropical astrology wheel. Or if you're curious about your own alignments to fixed stars, galactic points, and celestial bodies, download my Galactic Alignments reference guide. There's a link in the description box below to do so if you wish. What you will see in this video are 3 key energetic themes that I see are key to the Gemini full moon. But also you will receive a couple of questions at the end that you can work with to integrate this energy. One thing that I want to highlight first before we go into the 3 themes is that this full moon in Gemini is very much of an energy signature of change. Both the moon and the sun are in mutable signs, but also the ruler of this full moon, Mercury, is in Sagittarius, also mutable. And that brings the signature of this full moon very much into a changeable place. And I will address that, of course, within each of the themes. The galactic players here, if we call them that, related to the full moon is the moon conjunct the constellation, or actually it's a star cluster called Hyades. And Hyades was active in the previous new moon we had in Scorpio. We also have Mars conjunct the sun opposite the moon, since it's a full moon. And Mars is opposite the also a star cluster called Pleiades. And many of you may be familiar with Pleiades. It's very much talked about in galactic heritage terms, because many of us have a strong bond or galactic heritage with the Pleiades star cluster. So these 2 players form the guidance, if you will, of this full moon. And I will get into that as we go through the themes. The energy signature of the star cluster of Hyades is one of creativity, playfulness, artistry, and Pleiades as a star cluster is very much associated with energy of higher communication, the bigger picture, collaboration. So with that energy signature for this full moon, I'm going to bring in the key themes next. So let's take a look at the chart for the new moon. The first theme I've called a vision for a new direction, and I'll show you here what I see. Mercury, as the ruler of this full moon, is making an almost exact trine to asteroid Eris there at 24 degrees of Aries, and conjunct the north node, the true north node here that I highlighted. And this pair is opposite Bootes, fixed star Arcturus. And this has been a long-standing interaction between the nodes and Arcturus. Arcturus is an energy of the intersection between science and spirituality, very much associated with higher intelligence, but also emotional healing mastery. So this direction that we're really honing in on here with Eris really paired up now, almost exact with the North Node, is one of a new direction. In addition, Venus is right here at 21 degrees of Libra. It's worth to note that Venus is at the exact solar eclipse point that we had on October 14th. And Venus was ruling that solar eclipse as well. So this new direction that Venus on one side together with the South Node and Eris on the other side together with the North Node is a strong indication or guidance for us in terms of a new direction based on a feminine power, if you will. As many of you know, asteroid Eris is associated with an energy of power struggle and discord, but also a very deep feminine strength in the face of tremendous turmoil. So this pair of asteroid Eris and North Node opposite Venus and the South Node, and the conjunction of the South Node to Bootes-Arcturus really are giving us a sense of direction that the integration between science and spirituality is proceeding. We have Venus here infusing that deep feminine influence, if you will, from the South Node conjunction. And on the other side, Eris there with her unapologetic feminine power in the face of turmoil. And that's maybe also invitation to us to acknowledge that sometimes when we grow, we have to face turmoil and walk through the fire. And this opposition here at this full moon is showing us in some way what is going on potentially in the collective when it comes to the turmoil we see, but also the remembrance of that in the very bottom line is the feminine energy stirring things up unapologetically so that we can find our new direction in the direction we want to go next. And here Mercury conjunct the Galactic Center opposite the Orion Nebula M42 is reminding us of it's time to speak up and learn about what we are held back by. Mercury is our ability to learn, and conjunct the Galactic Center here, it is a universal force that is supporting us to unearth that what is holding us back from finding our own creativity within ourselves. So this pairing here at the full moon is really one of showing us the direction forward and the insights that we may have to walk through some turmoil to reach the next level, but also the invitation to integrate our views of the seen and the unseen, spirituality and science, for example, and that is a way to reach the connection to higher intelligence provided by fixed star Arcturus here in this opposition. So this creates an energy loop that emphasizes this theme's new direction, where Mercury as the ruler of this full moon get an extra influx of energy from the Galactic Center, emphasizing the Orion Nebula here, energy that highlights how important it is to stand strong in the face of adversity, but also the higher intelligence coming in from Arcturus. It's almost like an overarching consciousness to help us with the direction going forward in the feminine influence from Venus and Eris here as part of this energy theme. As part of this theme, I want to highlight Eris. Eris, in the way she's different. And from an orbit perspective, you can see I put this image in here to help you see how different she is in her orbit just there. It takes 560 years for Eris to in her orbit, but also she goes way out in the cosmos to gather information, and then she's now becoming on her orbit back to us here to really share with us the rebellious ways we need to move into to evolve. So here we have the rebel, if you will, if you want to look at an archetypal energy, and associated with the North Node here, supported by the high intelligence energy matrix of fixed star Arcturus. This is a new direction. We have to go through some turmoil to get out the other side, and Eris is leading the way. So here we have the second theme that I call guidance through balanced creativity. And let's start with the full moon here, because the full moon, the moon is conjunct the star cluster Hyades, and particularly the fixed star Hyadum 1 at 6 degrees of Gemini. So Hyades is a beautiful place. Many times I speak about the Hyades star cluster as the holding place for souls before they descend to Earth. Because it's this infusion of creativity and playfulness and artistry, all the elements of our life force, basically. And as a young child, we express those qualities that we receive through that infusion in Hyades. That's what I've seen many times in soul journeys of readings that I've done for others, that Hyades is this holding place. And this full moon is now conjunct this star cluster. The moon is also making a trine to the supergalactic center at 2 degrees of Libra, which is also the support that's needed in the multiverse to provide this creativity that we are infused with here, potentially being in Hyades before incarnation to human form on Earth, potentially. And the sun is now at 4 degrees of Sagittarius, which is actually the degree point where Mercury was 2 weeks ago at the new moon in Scorpio. And Mars in particular is opposite the star cluster Pleiades at 0 degrees of Gemini. So this opposition here is very powerful, highlighting both Hyades and Pleiades here at this full moon. Pleiades, which is the higher communication, collaboration, very much our brothers and sisters, ascended brothers and sisters. Many of us have soul memories with Pleiades. Ceres being conjunct Mars and the sun here at this full moon is another indication that it's the highlight and the momentum that we need now to increase our level of creativity and playfulness in our day, to allow that to be our guide instead of other focuses that we may have. But the creativity and the collaboration around creativity as a concept, enlightening us from within, it really is an important message of this full moon. And Ceres just brings in the additional abundance around this message. What's holding this together is the opposition between Saturn and Lilith here. And I want to highlight some galactic alignments that are really important. Saturn has been here for a while at 0 degrees of Pisces. One thing that I want to highlight here in this theme, which I will be going in further depth into in the next theme, is Lilith's closer and closer conjunction to Draco-Thuban, the fixed star Thuban. There's quite a reputation of this fixed star in galactic conversation, but I will address Draco-Thuban in the next theme, so stay with me for that. So what we have here is a very balanced energy grid, or guidance grid, as I call it, with the full moon engaged, of course, but also the long-standing engagement between Saturn opposite the royal star Regulus at 0 degrees of Virgo, which is Earth, and Lilith here opposite the royal star Fomalhaut in water in Pisces. They're at 4 degrees of Pisces. And now at this full moon, the sun and the moon is engaged here in Gemini, which is air, and Sagittarius, which is fire, of course. And that extra punch is provided by Mars and Ceres here in the very early degrees of Sagittarius. So all elements are engaged here in this guidance. So again, the emphasis on guidance through creativity is really emphasized here, allowing us to think about what is the guidance that we can receive through creativity. What is the guidance we can receive long-term by holding a balanced view, engaging all the elements, and ensuring that we maintain the bigger picture, with Sagittarius and the black holes engaged here. It's about bringing that higher perspective down on Earth in the first decan here. So the growth opportunity here, as exemplified by the squares in this guidance grid to the royal stars Regulus at 0 degrees of Virgo and to royal star Fomalhaut, 4 degrees of Pisces. How can we expand receiving guidance, higher intelligence through creativity in a greater way? How can we move into bringing that down to Earth now, since this full moon is in the first decan physical realm? So that might be an invitation to you to consider for this full moon. So here I just wanted to highlight the Pleiades star cluster, and specifically the fixed star Alcyone, which is in alignment in opposition to Mars at this full moon, but also Hyades conjunct the full moon. So we have Jupiter retrograde moving into an opposition to the Shapley Attractor. And for those who don't know what the Shapley Attractor is, it's one of the biggest universal drivers that is known to date. And so this is a huge influx of universal wisdom into our solar system with this opposition alignment to Jupiter in retrograde at this time. And this is also a conjunction of Pallas Athena, asteroid Pallas Athena, to Shapley Attractor, highlighting for us that powerful foundation for us to consider when it comes to universal wisdom and downloads of new Earth energy at this time, coming in through that expansive energy from Haumea is actually also conjunct the Shapley Attractor, have been for a long time. So I didn't put her in this chart here in conjunction with Pallas Athena because it just gets busy. But basically, this alignment of Jupiter to Shapley Attractor now means that new Earth downloads of universal wisdom is clearly expanded at this time. The galactic points that are activated here that I want to pull out in this theme is involving Canis Major, Sirius B at 7 degrees of Cancer, Draco-Thuban at 7 degrees 46 minutes, almost 8 degrees of Virgo, and of course, Shapley Attractor here opposite Jupiter. What the Sirius B is associated with a energy of supportive, humorous, intelligent energy, very mercurial in that sense. Sirius B is associated with learning, higher learning, communication also, but also humorous, supportive ways of collaboration. And the highlight of Mercury here in opposition to Canis Minor, Sirius B, highlights the need for staying in our learning mode, a higher intelligence, learning, but also to be supportive in the way of being adaptable. So that's the highlight between Mercury and Sirius B here in this theme. And now we get to Draco-Thuban, which has quite the reputation in the galactic world for being associated with reptilians and very negative, overpowering energy. I want to highlight here the depth of sovereignty and character that is needed to actually face our fears. So the higher expression of Draco-Thuban, in my mind, the way I interpret that is the energy that it takes to face our fears and the depth of character that creates when we have to go from disconnected to sovereign as a soul, disconnected from who we truly are. Now, this infusion of universal wisdom through the Shapley Attractor, activated by Jupiter, now expanding it in opposition, this is a key theme for us at this time to see how can we show ourselves in our unique costume, in our unique inner costume, and actually learn from that. It's a call for stepping into our sovereignty and also being curious, creative, how we are getting to that place within, because it's not the same for everyone. And supported now with universal wisdom to expand that within ourselves, because when we see this type of expansion in a chart, it means also that we are invited to make that expansion within ourselves as well. And again, this is happening in the first decan, in the first 10 degrees of each of the signs involved here. So it means that it has relevance to the physical realm. How can you see your own uniqueness expand at this time? How can you express it, show it to others so that they can see in the physical world how your uniqueness and your strength is shown to others? So here I want to show you the two key players of this theme, Draco-Thuban and Canis Major-Sirius B, and how they look like in the sky, but also take in these images. They are channeled by Arya Loomis, and they also exemplify potentially the opportunity for you to face your fears, but also bring out that creativity and supportive, humorous, adaptive side of you to walk through challenges, to walk through the times we're living in. In summary, the first theme, a vision for a new direction, engaging both the North Node and the South Node. The North Node conjunct Asteroid Eris, forging the way ahead, and the South Node conjunct fixed star Arcturus, now also conjunct Venus at this full moon, bringing in the direction and push from the South Node from a feminine energy perspective, allowing Eris to forge ahead, highlighting imbalances that we may need to consider walking through, such as our own challenges, our own turmoil, but also collectively. Harmony energy surrounding this full moon and direction by Mercury, the ruler of this full moon, opposite the Orion Nebula. The Orion Nebula standing for highlighting for us the need and the importance of standing strong through diversity and adversity. Eris, the rebel, that is really showing us the way by going out of the comfort zone. And that is the direction forward. What direction are you going in? The second theme, a balanced guidance grid, and engaging the full moon here with the highlights of the moon being conjunct Star Cluster Hyades and the Mars conjunct the sun opposite the Pleiades star cluster. And the third theme, turning your uniqueness to your strength. Starting with Jupiter there, opposition to Shapley Attractor at 2 degrees of Scorpio, allowing that universal wisdom to be expanded, engaging Sirius B in the Canis Major constellation and Draco-Thuban in the Draco constellation. This is a call to face our fears, but doing it in a way such as being adaptable, being flexible. And here I have some questions for you to work with at this full moon in Gemini. The first question is, how are you relating to change? What is your vision for your direction in your life? How can you become clearer about it? Are you trying to figure it out or copy somebody else? Or are you tuning into your heart? The second question is, how can you be guided through your own creativity? How can you be led in life through what inspires you? How can you embody your inner guidance? The third question is, how can you bring out your uniqueness? How can you challenge a perspective that you have about yourself? Maybe you have shut yourself down previously. Maybe you have thought you were too much out there. It was an out there idea. Consider this again, bring it back, and see if you can have a different perspective on it. Now is the time to bring out your uniqueness and maybe challenge that opinion or belief that you have about yourself. Bring out your most unique ideas. So this was the Galactic Astrology reading for the Gemini full moon. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being here. I truly enjoy doing these readings for you. If you're curious about your own galactic alignments, download my Galactic Alignments Reference Guide. The link is below. Thank you so much. See you soon again. Bye.